It was just a regular morning in the small town of Cedarville, gray skies, the smell of rain, and the usual rush of tired faces lining up at the corner cafe. But for Emily Carter, a single mom of two, every day felt like a battle. A quiet, invisible war fought with a smile. She worked 2 jobs, juggled bills that never seemed to end, and still found a way to tuck her kids in every night with stories of hope. Little did she know, one small act of kindness that morning would flip her entire world upside down, and it would all begin with a stranger and a cup of coffee. The cafe was unusually crowded that day. Emily stood in line, clutching her worn-out purse, counting the few bills she had left. Her shift at the diner had been brutal, and she just wanted a moment of peace before heading to her second job at the bookstore. Ahead of her, a tall man in a dark coat fumbled through his wallet, his expression blank, tired, almost lost. When he realized he'd forgotten his card, the people behind him groaned impatiently. Without thinking twice, Emily smiled and said softly, "Don't worry, I got it." The man looked at her, surprised, his gray eyes curious, almost disbelieving. "You don't have to," he murmured. Emily shrugged. "It's just coffee. Pay it forward someday." He hesitated, then smiled faintly, a small crack in his guarded demeanor. "Thank you." "Really?" He took his cup, nodded politely, and left. Emily didn't think much of it. Just another face she'd never see again. She didn't know that man was Nicholas Grayson, a billionaire tech magnate trying to escape the noise of his empire, hiding in plain sight after losing his wife in a tragic accident. To everyone else, he was just another stranger. But that day, her small act of kindness stirred something in him that money never could: warmth, humanity, hope. When Emily returned home that evening, the lights flickered weakly in her tiny rented house. Her kids, 8-year-old Max and little Lily, greeted her with drawings and hugs, their laughter masking the quiet struggle behind her tired eyes. She fixed them dinner, helped with homework, and fell asleep on the couch, unaware that someone out there hadn't forgotten her. The next morning, the sound of thunder jolted her awake, but it wasn't thunder. It was the deafening roar of blades cutting through the sky. The ground trembled as a helicopter descended onto the empty field behind her house. She rushed outside, her heart racing, still in her robe, shielding her eyes from the wind. From the chopper stepped Nicholas, the same man from the cafe, but no longer in a simple coat. He was surrounded by men in suits, the insignia of his company glinting on the side of the helicopter. The whole neighborhood began to peek from windows, whispering in disbelief. Emily froze. What is this? What are you doing here?" Nicholas smiled softly, his voice calm but firm. "Yesterday you bought me coffee, but what you really gave me was something I'd forgotten existed. Kindness without a reason. I found out who you were, I know your story, and I want to return the favor." Before she could react, one of his men handed her an envelope. Inside were papers, ownership documents. Her tiny house, the one she'd been months behind on rent for, was now fully paid off. Next came another envelope, a scholarship fund for her kids. Emily's hands shook. "No, I can't accept this," she said, tears filling her eyes. Nicholas stepped closer. "I know what it's like to lose everything. To wake up one day and realize money means nothing if your heart is empty. You gave without asking. Let me do the same." For a long moment she couldn't speak. The world seemed to stop. The helicopter, the wind, the crowd. All she could feel was gratitude and disbelief colliding inside her chest. She finally whispered, "Why me?" He smiled, the kind of smile that carried both pain and peace. "Because people like you remind people like me that humanity still exists." From that day forward, Emily's life transformed. She didn't live in luxury. She didn't want to. But she had security, dignity, and the freedom to give her children the life she'd always dreamed of. She started a small charity in town called the Coffee Kindness Project, helping struggling single parents and teaching them the same lesson she'd learned, that even the smallest gesture can ripple into a miracle. As for Nicholas, he visited often, not as a billionaire, but as a friend. Slowly, their worlds intertwined. two broken souls mending each other in the quiet beauty of everyday kindness. Years later, on a sunny morning, Emily sat outside that same cafe, watching her kids, now grown, help others just like she once did. Nicholas sat across from her, sipping his coffee with that same faint smile. "Funny how it all started here," he said. Emily nodded, eyes glistening. "Just a coffee," she whispered. He smiled back. "No, Emily, it was never just coffee. It was the start of everything." And as the sun rose over Cedarville, the hum of distant helicopter blades became a memory. A reminder that kindness doesn't just change days. It changes lives.